Hello, welcome to my channel. In this episode, I'm going to show you how I took a bunch of scrap walnut that I had lying around and used it to make this end table. I hope you enjoy the video. If you do, please hit that subscribe button. It sure would appreciate it. And let's get started. So I thought of this project because I had some scrap walnut laying around that I wanted to use. I didn't really want to get rid of it. So here I am finding the best pieces and marking them for the top and bottom of the end table. Just trying to match the grain the best I can, mark it for glue up so everything goes together nicely when I decide to glue it. Now, after getting everything lined up, matched up the way I wanted them, I glued the top and bottom together. I also glued some of these smaller pieces to create the base. Now, I had an idea of what I wanted this to look like, which changed several times throughout the process, but basically I started out with all these little squares of walnut. They were all various thicknesses. The thickness really didn't matter much, just as long as they were flat. And I decided on this final basic shape. Here I am marking it out with pencil lines. This is so I know where to stop with the glue. I had to glue this up into several small chunks because it's just very awkward to clamp. As you can see, I definitely had to get creative with the way I positioned the clamps, how I held them down, how many I used, and where to place them. It was definitely a process, but I think I got it. So originally I had planned on doing a circular top, but I just thought an oval top might fit my design a little bit better. I am kind of just making this up as I go, so things change a lot. So I decided to use the string method of drawing an oval. So I found half the diameter and took that measurement and went from the center out in both directions. This is where I'm going to be placing 2 nails. Now here I am hammering in the 2 nails to the bottom of the tabletop. I didn't really want to pound them too far in, and I should have used smaller nails, but this is all I had available, so they worked. Except for right there, I had to pound that one in a little bit further. The ribbon that I have here, I probably should have used some string, but also you have to make do with what you have. I didn't have any string laying around, so this worked well enough. Slipped off a couple times, but I just put it back on and just follow that path. And here I go, almost halfway there. Yay! Oops, slipped again. The ribbon and crayon combination here wasn't the best, but you just have to work with what you have, and I probably should have tried to find something else, but I got it in the end. Good job, Jared. Looks great. I took the jigsaw, went around the edge, and then I started icing my wooden cake here with some glue. I think this was the 5th glue up that I did for this table. I just had to do it in these different small sections. There's the previous glue up that I had. I think that was 3 or 4 different spots. Just put it all together, just make it work. Get interesting with the clamping, trying to find some good pressure to get it all down. And now we're finally to the fun part. I had 2 Kutzall discs. This is the rough cut one that I started out with, and these things cut awesome. They're really smooth, they're really easy to use. The only thing I would say is you want to do this outside because they produce a lot of dust. So I really wasn't sure on the final shape of this thing. I just wanted to just move the wood and see how these things cut, because I've never used them before. But like I said, they work really great in carving this wood pretty quickly. So I just continue to knock down all the corners and edges of all the blocks that I previously glued up, kind of getting a more refined shape out of this. And the more I carved, the more I realized I'd like this to be a little bit thinner, so a lot more grinding to go. And you'll notice that I took the guard off of the grinder. I felt it was a lot easier to see and move it and get around all those little bends and curves. Now here I'm finally getting to a shape that I like, and I'm getting to kind of getting a vision of what this table is going to look like at the end. Now, as you can see here, I drew some white lines just to help me find that curve as it goes down the body of the, I guess it would be the pedestal of the table. And as I'm carving, I'm really starting to like the twist that I'm getting in this pedestal, and I really go with that, and I started refining that twist, taking out this little knob here and just taking my time and refining it. So now here's a good point where I'm going to switch over my rough cut wheel and put on the fine cut wheel, because I'm starting to be ready to smooth out all those rough cut edges. There we go, almost got it, and good to go. Now when I'm working this wheel, I'm really using just the super soft, delicate touch, just because I don't want to be digging into it much, because I really like the shape I have and I don't want to take too much wood off. This blade I'm just using just to gradually lightly smooth out all my cut marks. As you can see, I'm just using a really light touch just to remove all of those previous cut marks that I made with the rough cut saw. And here I drew a line about 1/4 inch up from on the pedestal base, and I just kind of took off a little bit at a time all the way around to get the right size that I wanted. So now it's sandy time. I started out with 80 grit with the orbital sander as well as hand sanding, and I worked my way up to 320. There was a lot of sanding involved, a couple hours in fact, to get this thing as smooth as I wanted it to be. So here I am addressing the top. This is actually the bottom of the top, and what I'm doing is I'm marking out a line so I could cut a chamfer in with one of the cutting wheels. Now the reason I'm doing this is I want to give the top a little bit more of a slim profile to match the bottom. So I'm just little bit at a time grinding out to that line that I drew, as well as around the edge halfway I drew a line, so I'm going between those two lines and just trying to make it as smooth as I can all the way around. And of course we gotta sand some more. Now I had one little tiny knot at the top of the table, so I wanted to fill that with some CA glue. Fill that in. Now it's time to sand the top. go through the same process, start with the 80, work my way up to 320. Now for the finish, I wanted something natural looking and easy to apply, so I decided to use Odie's oil. I've never used it before, but I've read a little bit about it and it got some good reviews. It gives a really nice, easy finish. All I do is wipe it on. I waited for about an hour and I just buffed it off. Now to attach the top, I thought the easiest way would be to use these figure-8 washers. So I marked off them and used the Forstner bit to cut down the thickness so they fit flush with the base here. Pre-drilled some holes, and you're gonna see a little mistake I made here in a little bit after I get that one in, that the screw kind of started to pop through the underside of this, so I had to reverse it and recut another hole a little further back where it wasn't so thin. And as you could see, I had to do the same thing with the back one there. Just drill another hole a little bit further back where you get some more meat to it, so those screws would not protrude through the bottom. And the last thing I had to do is just screw the top to the bottom, and that's all she wrote. So thank you for making it all the way to the end of this video. I hope this project showed you that you could take whatever little scraps that you have lying around the shop and make something pretty cool out of them. Maybe try something for the first time that you've never done before, and the results might surprise you. So if you liked what you saw in this video, please hit that subscribe and like buttons, and feel free to even leave a comment. You could also follow me at SpadeMade on Instagram. So until next time, get out there and create something. See ya.